Hi there, welcome once again to Blackpool. We're here for the RileysPoker.com World 8-Ball Pool Championships 2007. We are in the Imperial Hotel, right on the seafront, a terrific setting for a great event. All the world's best players here, chasing honours and glory. I'm delighted to say that with me here in the studio is Lee Kendall, himself a former finalist, never quite won it, Lee, but what does it take to get to this position? Because these guys are so close to glory.
That's right, they've had a lot of group stages where they've come through to the TV stage, and this is a match where they play the first time on the TV, on the big table, so it's an important match and they need to get off to a good start in these matches.
They can't afford to be too nervous, can they?
Both players will be nervous. It's probably where the experienced players will slightly have the edge, but, you know, 8-ball pool, anything can happen.
So the focus has got to be 100%. Let's take a look then, shall we, at the quarter-final lineup, and this is how they go. And these are the 4 quarter-final matches. Mark Selby, the defending champion, against Gareth Potts. He won it 2 years ago. That's the first one coming up, Lee. What sort of match will that be? Well,
they're both very good potters. I mean, you've got Potts, who's the #1 ranked player in the 8-ball game, against the snooker player Mark Selby, a beaten finalist this year. So it's going to be a very close match.
Stephen Dempsey against Lee Clough is the second?
Well, the second one is the European champion Dempsey against Lee Clough, an experienced England international. So 2 great players there.
And this is going to be a tight one, isn't it? Mick Hill against Carl Morris.
Yeah, Mick Hill has actually won the event before, so he knows what he needs to do. Carl Morris has won the event, but he's away from the 8-ball scene at the moment, so that'll be a big ask for Carl to come through that one.
And the very experienced Phil Harrison against Rob Mackay.
Yeah, all the viewers will know Phil Harrison. They won't know so much about Rob, but he's a good player from the West Indies, so look out for Rob.
One thing I must ask you is that there's no man, I think, who's won this title who's ever come back and defended it successfully. It seems to be the curse, doesn't it, of the champion?
That's right, 15 years and there's never been like consecutive winners, but that's 8-ball pool. You cannot control the game. It's so fast and furious, anything can happen. Well,
that leads us on quite nicely to our first quarter-final, because that's where the defending champion is going to be. Let's see how he got to this stage in the competition. Well, this is how Mark Selby made it through to this stage. A bye in the first round, then a pretty comfortable win over Michael Skerry and Dean Wisher of England 8-5. As for Gareth Potts, the road looks like this for him. Well, it was Sam Jeffrey first up, and then a good victory over Tom Ford and thrashing Sunny Singh 8-1 in the last 16. So there we are. We're all set for commentary then from Sean Baker and Jim White.
The defending champion on the left.
Right, Mark Selby to break.
Jim White alongside Sean Baker. And Sean, he came into last year's event a little bit of an outsider. He's not the hunter anymore, is he, Mark Selby?
No, that's true, Jim. Mark, last year, as you say, he was a bit of an unknown quantity. People think, oh, well, he's just been brought in as a name by the sponsor. He got a sponsor's wildcard. But he's actually a very proficient pool player, as he proved last year. But he plays everything from local league right up to county standard. And he's a county regular. And finished right up near the top of the rankings last year in his region, Jim.
And he's hooked a big one here in the first quarter-final, and for me, the best tie in the quarter-final of all of them. The 2005 world champion Gareth Potts. Both of these players extremely confident.
Yeah, I think before the draw was made, if this had been the final, I don't think there'd have been too many people upset about that. Certainly not in the Potts and...
Red's in play for Gareth. And just having a look right now, everything looks to be in the open. Doesn't appear to be any problem balls. That black nearest the right-hand side pocket. If it's available, this is a big opportunity here early for Gareth.
Yeah, and this is just what Gareth would want. He's lost the lag, so Mark's come to the table to break. And if he can snatch that advantage away from him by taking this first frame, it's a big moment early in the match, if you like, Jim.
Taking lots of time again, trying to settle the nerves. It's the first frame of a best-of-17 quarter-final, and always early days. The odd miss can creep in just where players trying to settle in and embrace the situation.
Yeah, and that's it. This standard. Their opponent get the first 3 or 4 frames on the board, as you say, by them being a little bit edgy and nervous. And they can say, at this standard, they find themselves 3-4-0 down within a very short space of time, and the match is almost over before it started for them.
Good long shot there from Gareth. But he's obviously concerned, and That wasn't the intended red. That red was a little bit of an insurance policy because it blocked the yellow into that pocket. Now he knows he's got to clear up here.
What he's had to do there, Jim, and as you say, he's missed. What he's had to do there is move from one end of the table to the other. And the players don't like doing that. They try and keep the work in one area of the table, so they'll clear all the balls from one end first and then move to the other end of the table. And one thing you will see with Mark Selby's game, he is very, very attacking. I mean, the viewers remember from last year's final against Darren Appleton, he was, he didn't, I don't think it was a safety shot played. I think it was complete attack. I was fortunate enough to referee his last 32 game with Michael Skerry from Australia, and there was times where he broke and you think, well, the clearance probably isn't on at this visit, and he's just developed the balls out. As you see here, he's going to take the one in the middle and probably try and get in behind this yellow, is he?
Yeah, missable this one. Great shot from Selby. That was a very acute angle into that center pocket. Again, showing the confidence.
Yeah, he's certainly looking the far more confident player in this first frame. As you say, Gareth looked a bit edgy. I was talking to Gareth before the match in the practice room, and he was feeling very confident, and he said he was looking forward to it. But this man is the current world champion.
Yes, he'll save that yellow nearest the black to last. And the way that he's going through this, that black must be available to the side pocket.
Yeah, I think he'll just run the cue ball here, probably off the bottom rail. You see there, looking just where he wants to leave the cue ball for that yellow. And he hasn't got to do an awful lot with it. Just drop the yellow in, and as you say, the black. Pretty sure that goes into that middle pocket.
But if he's straight on this yellow, it's going to be a little longer on the last yellow than he would have liked.
That's just about where he was pointing with his cue a few minutes or a few seconds ago.
Yeah, with that dotted cue ball, very easy to see the spin these top players apply. Oh, great shot. That was the one he had to have. And now the black at his mercy. And it's the reigning world champion, the defender, Mark Selby, who opens his account here in this quarterfinal. And he leads Gareth Potts 1-0. Frame number 2, Gareth Potts with the break. Looking for a color down, and nothing found gravity there.
Open table.
Well, that brings Selby back to the table, already leading 1-0.
But he may elect that that's the ball he takes first.
And it's still pretty messy in the middle of the table, so he's going to have to weigh up in his mind the pattern with which he wants to try and remove these reds.
50 seconds.
You know, what Mark tended to do...
Or the yellows, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, Sean.
And what Mark was tending to do in the match that I refereed him, he was doing exactly what you said, but he was weighing up how is the best way to develop that ball out.
Yellow balls in
I
play.
think that yellow goes into the top left-hand corner pocket, the way he's played that. Because he was certainly came down, he was looking at that to see if there was a gap between the black and the red, enough for the cue ball.
Well, there we got a great look at it, and if it goes into that top corner, just. And then the long yellow to the top right now.
30 seconds.
I think one thing that is very noticeable from players like Selby is how well they cue the ball. With his snooker background, obviously you'd expect him to have found the holy grail in terms of fundamentals. And
Yeah, he's got a very, I won't say very similar cueing action to Chris Melling. He's got that long stroke, he takes it away, he pauses, and then he plays the shot. And Chris Melling plays exactly the same way. And as we know, Chris is a very accomplished snooker player as well.
now in trying to dislodge that yellow, he's clipped the black over near that yellow on the right-hand side, and that could cause problems if that yellow doesn't pass into the corner. So keep an eye on that, mark that one down. We'll see exactly how he goes about his business attacking it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you'll see Mark Selby attack it, without a doubt. But I'm not quite sure how he's going to do it here, Jim.
And that's assuming that that yellow doesn't pass. If it does, then really no danger.
The problem he's got here, it could be that he's forced to leave that till the end. That yellow being, and you see there, it doesn't pass. And it could be if he's got to disturb, and the way the other two balls are, it may be that is the last shot he plays. Or, you know, trying to dislodge that yellow and black. And that's putting all your eggs in one basket, and we know how that can go wrong in this game of 8-ball pool.
Smashes that in to force an angle. Just a smattering of applause there, but let me tell you something. At that speed, very little room for error, and now he's got the angle that he needed. Can he take that cue ball into that black and yellow?
Well, I think he can. I think he'll get past the red that's immediately below the yellow, onto the bottom cushion, and then up in behind the yellow and the black. You say, it's,
bottom right. And overcooked it. Was never going to be easy.
Red ball's in play.
But you said at the early going that this man was very attacking Mark Selby, and there's a clear illustration right there.
I think, to be fair though, Jim, he didn't really have an option there. He didn't have a safety shot that would have put Gareth in enough trouble. And because all the reds are spread, the black where it was would have potted, although the yellow wouldn't. The black would have gone in the bottom right-hand corner, so he had no option in that case, and he's a little bit unlucky.
Well, Gareth, as he surveys the situation with the reds, everything's in the open again. And he had the first real opportunity to take frame number 1, only to miss at a long attempted color and allow Selby back in. He doesn't want to let that happen here in frame 2.
Now, as we've said before, we don't want, or Gareth certainly doesn't want to see Mark Selby get a 3 or 4 frame lead early on, because the game will virtually be over. Because if the break shot starts working for either of these players, they'll soon run through the frames, and they'll be finding themselves in a place in the semi-final of this RileysPoker.com World Championship.
Yeah, I saw Gareth at breakfast this morning. He was pretty excited about playing Mark in this quarterfinal. Had a good lay-in. He's a year younger than Mark Selby, 23 years of age, as opposed to Mark Selby, 24.
And this is just what Gareth wanted here, an opportunity to get straight back to the table, to missing that long pot in the first frame. Fairly simple stuff here.
And like any other cue sport, you've got to punish the mistakes. And it was a mistake from Selby that brought Potts back out of his chair. And with it, he secures frame number 2. It's level pegging here in Blackpool. 1-1, Gareth Potts and Mark Selby.
8th frame, Gareth Potts to break, trailing 4 frames to 3.
A 4-3 deficit welcomes Gareth Potts back to the table. And look at the cue ball, straight into the corner. And folks, I can guarantee you there was a lot of frustration in that break. He should have won the last rack, and he knew it. And now there's a little bit of anger in his back arm, and that could prove costly. 4-3, the score in favor of Mark Selby. And Potts could be spending a little time in his chair.
Yeah, I think Mark almost had a little bit of extra luck there, because the referee Mel Harley gave 2 visits for the enough on the break, and it's actually only 1. But he did correct himself. Mark said, no, I'd quite still like to take the 2. We see our referee there, Mel, and probably one of the most experienced men out in the middle, these championships. But as they say, the best sometimes make mistakes. But as you say, this has now given the initiative again back to Mark Selby. This in off, he could put his stamp on this match here, Jim, by taking this frame.
Well, far from a convincing performance by either player. Certainly whoever goes through at this stage anyway. I mean, there's still a ways to go. We've said that, but they certainly know that at this level, playing pool the way they've played, they wouldn't live long in the World Championships, even should they win this match. Lots of room for improvement. And Selby and Gareth Potts have to raise their games.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, whoever they came up against in the semi-final, if they didn't raise the game, I think they'd be going home very quickly, because this is certainly not the pool we've come to see from these two former champions.
I mean, even at the table now, I mean, he looks like he's playing with all the enthusiasm of a person who's been told he has to have a bath with his mother-in-law. You know, he's in front 4-3. He's shaking his head, and this is very unlike the Mark Selby we saw last year.
He just doesn't seem to be in control. He's not in control of the cue ball, certainly. He's got a chance here. If he comes back across the table, that red probably goes into the bottom left-hand corner pocket.
Great shot there.
But I think he wanted to come a lot further than that, Jim.
He's got a lot of work to do.
Somehow he's got to get on his last ball.
Got to be a double here. No. Oh, he's checked it. Plenty of room.
Fantastic
Didn't even
shot.
think that shot was on.
No, fantastic shot there to come back through that gap in the reds. And one nice positional shot here.
Will the real Mark Selby please stand up? Following the in-off from Gareth Potts in the break, Mark Selby dishes up to enjoy the first two-frame advantage of the match. 5-3. Looking to tighten the screws here is Gareth Potts. He's 6'5" in front of Mark Selby, the defending world champion. And with the break, and a ball down on the break, every chance now for Potts to go too clear of Mark Selby and take control of this match.
Yeah, what a fantastic split there for Gareth. I mean, really, he's got his choice here, so it's going to be a personal preference which way he goes. Just plotting it in his own mind what he wants to do.
Red ball's in play.
Hasn't he looked a lot more confident over the last three racks?
Yeah, he, as we talked about early on in the match, he looked very, very edgy, a little bit nervous maybe, and as he'd said, he'd started off like that in the tournament in the last 64. But since then he's got steadier, better and better. And I say, we expected the fireworks, but they didn't come. Certainly not in the early part of this game. But this will really put the pressure on Mark Selby if Gareth can take this finish out here. And just one, I think he's gone a little bit further than he wanted to. I think he was looking to take the left corner pocket next. And he's blocked himself out. I'm not sure. He actually got a pot on now, Jim.
Well, the only thing he can be looking at is to try and play this red off the other red and into the center.
Big shot here from Gareth Potts.
And what an effort from Gareth Potts there.
And I tell you what, he's had a, as they say, a right result there, Jim, because the red's just gone far enough to go past the yellow into the top left corner pocket. He's going to have to get up there, but shouldn't cause too. Just making sure now, because he's already missed this positional shot once, so he's just looking again where he needs to leave the cue ball to get position onto that red into the other corner pocket after this shot.
But this has to be sending a message to Mark Selby. He's got an angle on this red, just straight off that side cushion and back up for the lone remaining red. top side of the table.
I think the message from Gareth is, I'm ordering you a taxi back to Leicester, where Mark hails from. The jester from Leicester is not looking too pleased at the moment as he looks on at Gareth Potts. As Gareth looks to extend his lead to 2 frames.
Great shot making and precise cue ball control, the order of the day right now for Gareth Potts. That's 4 frames in a row, and he finds himself 7-5 in front of Mark Selby.
14th frame, Gareth Potts to break, leading 7 frames to 6.
The standard of play has gone up a couple notches in this quarterfinal. Frame number 14, it's a 7-6 lead for Gareth Potts, but both players
Open table.
have started to show the form that we expected.
And Gareth's come up dry there, and the yellows are sitting extremely nicely here for Mark, to say the least. Again, if he wants to progress to the semi-final, he needs to be taking these out now.
Well, the clearance Mark Selby showed us in frame 13 was
Yellow
second
balls
to
in play.
none in terms of quality. Fantastic. I think Gareth Potts sent a message to Selby, and Selby has responded in kind. Just slightly overhit that, but he's got another yellow to the right center pocket.
Yeah, I think that was always going to be his insurance ball there, as we see. Camera angle. So you can just drop that in. Just got to be a little bit careful that he doesn't block himself out with that. The black and the red. Probably the red's the awkward ball there. It's just causing a little bit of trouble for him potentially. Now it looks like he's played that perfectly. Get to the bottom yellow here.
Being the top seed in this event, he was given a bye in the last 64. He beat Michael Scarry from Australia 8-4, and then England's Dean Wisher 8-5 in the last 16. But certainly he came to Blackpool as the holder, and there was no way he was going to go down without a shout.
You know, we've seen the chances he's given in this game against Gareth. By all accounts, he gave similar chances to Dean Wisher, as I said earlier. Unfortunately, Dean didn't take his chances that he had, and Mark progressed through to the quarters. So he's have to play a good shot here now to get on this black.
What an effort from Mark Selby. Fantastic cue ball control. And just like that, we are deadlocked once again. 7-7, the defending champion against the former champion, with a chance to seal the deal. The 2005 world champion Gareth Potts at the table. Frame number 16. He leads 8-7. He's got a ball down.
I'll tell you what, Jim, that's a great split for him. He was really concerned then because the cue ball came back with what he wanted into the bouquet and then got kicked by another ball. And he was heading towards the middle pocket.
And now, Sean, nothing short of a glaring mistake is going to bring Mark Selby out of his chair.
And
Yellow
that
balls
is
in
not
play.
the best shot that Gareth Potts has ever played in his life.
He may have just tied up that yellow near the center of the table. Just, well, everything was in the open. That yellow was available to 4 pockets before that red nudged up to it. It's not making life easier for Potts.
50 seconds.
I think Gareth will be trying to leave his the last yellow will be the one that's probably by the red. Take the yellow into the middle, right in the middle, and then come down, roll that yellow through into the left-hand middle, and it'd be a simple black for him, but he's got to get there yet. Because again, I don't think he finished exactly where he wanted to be here. I think he probably wanted to be a little bit straighter on this to get through to the yellow at the top of the table.
In his mind right now, and just looking at the lay of the land here, Sean, he has to leave that yellow nearest the right-hand side pocket as long. He'll be shooting the yellow to the left first, I believe.
Yeah.
I can't believe this. If he's just looking where he wants
he's
to
looking
play
where he
it.
wants to leave the cue ball, Jim. He's doing it exactly what I described. He's just going to run through off that yellow into the right in a minute, and say take the other yellow into the left-hand middle. He's just again pointing with his cue where he wants to leave the cue ball.
One good positional shot here. And that'll do. We're not going to see a repeat. Mark Selby's going to be heading back to Leicester after this 8 disappears. And Gareth Potts is through to the semifinals. Wins the last 2 frames against the holder Mark Selby. And it is a 9-7 victory for Gareth Potts.
So the curse of the champion strikes yet again, and Mark Selby, it's a big shock, has been beaten by Gareth Potts. Lee Kendall, let's get your thoughts on that. You're not that surprised because you were saying that Gareth has been playing very well this year.
Yeah, he's won a professional event, UK Tour, and he's the #1 ranked player in the 8-ball game. I mean, Mark only plays a little bit of pool. He's more of a snooker player. So although the 8-foot table did suit Mark, you know, the 8-ball specialist come through.
What do you think the key to his win was?
Just determination, and he knows how to win the tournament. He's been there before, just believed in himself.
Disappointing thing was that both players made simple elementary mistakes. Let's go first of all to the champion and see what went wrong for him, Mark Selby.
Yeah, this is in the 4th frame, a careless yellow to the middle. He should have made that one and extended his lead to 3-1, let Gareth back to the table.
Looks a bit fed up there, doesn't he?
And he's just got the gap. I think he could just play through the gap there, so I could excuse him for that.
These came at crucial stages, and ultimately, of course, losing positions were caused because of this. Gareth, of course, did play well, and he obviously did enough to win, but he too was making simple, basic errors. Neither player was fully stamping his authority on it.
Yeah, I think both players knew it was an important match, and obviously getting through your first TV match, they fancied getting through to the final, and they knew both players could win the tournament, so they were a little bit edgy because of that, I think.
Right, now here we go. This is Gareth, not maybe the wrong shot here.
Yeah, he's decided to just clip the red and move the yellow down the table, probably on the rail where he should have moved it out harder, and there he just tried to swerve around. It was a tough shot to play around the yellow ball there. And this was just a thin clip into the top right, caught it too thick. So that was all early on, scrappy frames by both players.
Do you not maybe think these players really should have produced better at this stage? Or
It's nerves. You've gone up to the big table. Everybody billed it as a tie of the round, so I think they were both a little bit canny and worried about the other player rather than just getting on with their own game.
Okay, thanks for that, Lee. Right, let's just confirm that result then. So the first of our quarterfinals is over, and it's Gareth Potts who goes through to the semis, having won 9-7. As you can see there, Stephen Dempsey against Lee Clough. That's coming up next. So make sure you stay with us. That's next here from Blackpool.